So it started, I wouldn't have guessed that it would have even happened. It started off as like little things, mostly just really passive aggressive, um, or like rude comments, and then kind of progressed more into like constantly like drag me back and forth, like he would break up with me and then the next day act like nothing happened, and then kind of just go through that a lot. Mostly it was like a lot of pressuring to do a lot of like things, and it started off mostly as just I thought it was teasing, by like, oh, poking fun at me, and then it was like, oh, I'm really sensitive about that, and you know that. Well, I was in high school and it was my first like real relationship, and so I kind of like got the vibe that like, oh, this isn't very like great. Like I'm not the happiest right now. But I didn't really think of it as like a problem because I was like, oh well, everybody probably has these problems. They just don't talk about it because I'm not talking about it. So maybe it's just like this just happens. A couple people even tried to like talk to me about it, and I was just like, no, it's fine. We're good. The worst part was probably the isolation. Um, I had like a lot of friends my freshman year, and then after I started dating him, it kind of just like narrowed because oh, he didn't like that person, or I needed to be hanging out with him, so I couldn't hang out with that person, and it just kind of like kept narrowing down into like just him pretty much. So it got to the point where I felt like I really like once there was a serious problem, I thought that I didn't have anybody to turn to. So that's probably the worst part because I realize now that I had people that I could have talked to about it that would have been supportive, like my family and some friends, but I just didn't think that I had anybody besides him, and so I thought, well, if I lose him, then I'd have nobody. It was like a very slow process of, yeah, I wasn't very happy, and then it was like, oh, he was kind of a jerk. Like, oh, he was mean, and I was like, oh, that wasn't okay. And then once I got to the point where it was like, oh, he was abusive, I just blocked his number and blocked him on all social media, and here we are. I went to therapy for 10 months at CAPSA. CAPSA is a good place. I went to therapy. I made a lot of friends here at college and finally started talking about it, which was kind of crazy because I hadn't told anybody anything for 2.5 years. I think the biggest thing that helped me like cope was, I guess, just feeling safe like talking about it again, and hear from people who aren't trying to manipulate at me that it's like okay and that wasn't right, and just kind of get some outside perspective on it. At first I just avoided boys in general because I was just like, nope, boys are the worst, I don't want to deal with it. But I mean, I think I trust my gut a lot more now than I did before, and I think I like pick up on little signs quicker than I would have if I hadn't experienced that. So you are not responsible for somebody else's mental health or physical health or behavior towards you, and it's not your fault, and you can get out, and it does get better. It sounds cheesy, but it does get better.